NFL Week 7 is here, and this is your Fanduel Week 7 first look, where we're going to take a look at the Fanduel pricing, quarterbacks, running backs, position by position, figure out who the good plays are, where the good matchups are, and get ready for NFL Week 7 on Fanduel. Are you ready? Let's get into it, and as always, we're going to start this with a little look at the matchups. Not going to get too deep into this, but we're going to take a brief look at some of the matchups, see what pops this week, and there is a special game that stands out above all the others. But just some quick notes on the slate. So you got the Panthers at the Jets. Jets looking like a mess right now. Garrett Wilson out at this point. They look terrible last week. They can never look as bad. By the way, teams off a big loss like that, they tend to bounce back and play better the next week. But the Jets have no one to throw to. The flip side on the Panthers, Rico Dowdle. My goodness, the guy is breaking records. We don't even know if he's going to get the full run this week, but if he is, let's check the price on FanDuel because that guy's hot and I'm going for it. Jets can't stop anyone, can't do anything. They're terrible. On the Jet side, maybe Breece Hall would be of interest. We'll see. Patriots at the Titans. Next game up, 42-point total. That's gross as well. I don't think that's the style of game that's going to push Drake May to a ceiling game. It's just probably not. That should be Patriots defense dominating. The Titans are a mess. They did fire the head coach. Maybe that will help spark something because if not, it's gross. Speaking of gross, Dolphins at the Browns, 40-point total. Yuck. How are the Browns favored? I don't even get it. But the Browns being the favorite really hurt a lot of the things in this game. I mean, you got to think about Quinshon Judkins a little bit. Maybe some of those pass catchers, Jerry Jeudy, probably not. But that kind of be the way I'd look. Maybe some of those Browns pieces, but Dylan Gabriel, can we really go? I don't think so. It's too early in the week for that to even consider it. Next, we have the Saints at the Bears. The Bears, really interesting right now. Coming off the big win on the road. Now they get sort of the Saints, which is kind of a league bottom feeder type of team with Spencer the Rattlesnake at quarterback. Bears defense is not that great, but man, they do not look too bad against the Commanders. They have their cornerbacks back and healthy, and they've just looked a little bit better this past week. I think it was just fluky, but nonetheless, on the Bears side, it was DeAndre Swift who broke out. But the interesting thing here is the potential injury to DJ Moore. I don't think Moore, hamstring, ankle, I don't know what it was. I got to check. But I know after the game, he exited. He went to the hospital, had something looked at. So, DJ Moore's looking super questionable, which could open up the Luke Burden situation. And that is an exciting situation for DFS. Luther Burden is one of those players that he's kind of like a Rashid Shaheed where, you're not looking for floor, but there's a lot of ceiling available with Burden. So we'll think about that as we look at the player pool. I'm sure Burden is like stone min on FanDuel. Raiders at the Chiefs. Chiefs should dominate this game pretty easily. They're 10-point favorites, 12-point favorites. It's just gross. I think Chiefs defense is super in play here. Raiders pieces are a definite no-go outside of maybe you want to take a shot or two at like some pass catchers that could get there, but even Ashton Janty is probably an avoid here. Eagles at the Vikings. The big news in this one is Quinyon Mitchell, questionable, may or may not play. That is a big difference maker in this game because if he's in, my expectation would be he'd be on Justin Jefferson, which would shift some easier targets over to Addison. If Mitchell's out, then maybe Justin Jefferson just takes his lead role. Flip side, I don't even know who the quarterback is for the Vikings at this point. So it's still a bit early in the week on this one to really think about it too much. I will say on the Eagles side, we do have to pay attention to, like, Dallas Goedert has been on fire, but also they're clearly trying to get the passing game going. It's not working, but they're trying. So, could this be the spot where you get that crazy game from A.J. Brown? It's been on the precipice of happening. Giants at the Broncos, 40-point total. Again, as awesome as Jackson Dart is, and it is spectacular, can he go on the road in one of the toughest defensive matchups in the NFL and get it done against the Broncos? Maybe, right? But the odds makers don't think so. Slapping a 16.5-point anemic total on the Giants. Even Scatterbo doesn't really project that well in this matchup, again, where the Giants are not expected to score a ton. So if you're messing with that game, especially on the Giants side, that's really like a GPP only sort of contrarian situation. You should not be messing with it beyond that too much because clearly the game total is screaming, stay away. Broncos side isn't much better. I just don't know who to play on the Broncos. Maybe Courtland Sutton this week. Maybe go back to him after he was kind of shut down last week by Sauce. Sauce shut him down. Don't mess with Sauce. Don't mess with the Sauce. One of the best games of the week is this Colts-Chargers game. 48-point total. Both teams, big team totals. Super close game. I like this one a lot. Chargers side, it was Kamani Vidal, not Hassan Haskins, last week that got all the work. On the they also, I think Johnston is going to be back for this game, which will give us the three-headed disaster at wide receiver for the Chargers. So we'll have to pay close attention to that. Last week, when Johnston was out, we were able to put a core play in on Ladd McConkey, which worked out extremely well and obviously well because, hey, now they only have two guys to throw to. So just by force of volume, some of these guys are going to have better game. And it was a dud game for Keenan Allen, which meant Ladd really took off in that one. On the Colts side of this game, hey, when basically we see there's a pattern with this team. If they can't get it done with Jonathan Taylor, then they go heavy to the quarterback. Last week, it was a good mix of both. But, if ever Jonathan Taylor is going to get stopped in one of these games, that could be the game where Daniel Jones really shines the most. So I'm kind of waiting for that. We haven't seen it since really the first week or two, but it's bubbling up. It's bubbling up. Next is a gross one, Packers at the Cardinals. Cardinals are all kinds of banged up right now. No running back to speak of. The quarterback's banged up. Marvin Harrison Jr. got a concussion. We'll see what happens with that. If he doesn't unconcuss by the weekend, I mean, it should be a target bonanza for Trey McBride. So let's pay attention to that. On the Packers side, this is a Josh Jacobs setup, massive favored on the road. That's where you should run your workhorse the whole game. And finally, the game of the week. Commanders at Dallas in the Dome. Oh, could you ask for more? 55-point total. It keeps going up. Keeps going up. Every game involving Dallas has blown up on both sides. Why overthink it?
Go yourself. Is that clear?
That's for the people who are trying to overthink it. Just play the people from that game. That's right. That's the game. We're going to talk a lot about that as we go through the player pool, but obviously, Dak, the big question mark is going to be on CeeDee Lamb. If CeeDee Lamb, I hope he's out. If CeeDee Lamb stays out this week, we get to go heavy George Pickens, heavy Fergie. Bring it back with pieces from the Commanders. Got to see who's healthy on the Commanders. Who even knows at this point? Debo, perpetual Q-Tad. Terry McLaurin hasn't played in a while, so we'll have to see who we play, but this is definitely a game to target. Not the easiest players to pick out, but definitely a great game to target. So let's get into it on FanDuel, the player pool. Remember, if you enjoy the FanDuel content, like and subscribe and hit that button. Let us know that you're a FanDuel fan. You're a fanatic fan of FanDuel. In addition, as I go through these quarterbacks, these different plays, let me know in the comments. As you're watching, let me know, hey, you know what, Kev? I really like that, that Mahomes stack that you showed, or Caleb to Rome looks really good. Let me know who you're looking to stack in NFL Week 7. Like, who are your early thoughts? What are your early takes on this quarterback slate? That being said, let's get into it here. Jaden Daniels, 8,700. Okay, it's a great spot against Dallas. What's not to like here? It's a little expensive. There's Dak, also priced up at 8,300. Sandwich in between those guys, we got Jalen Hurts in a potentially competitive matchup against the Vikings. So all of those very much in play. This one's a little surprising, seeing Drake May elevated all the way into the 8K level on FanDuel. I don't think this is the spot to attack him. The Titans have not produced big games from their opponents at all. So May has one big game. I don't know. This does not feel like the game to target Drake May to me at all. That being said, he's been great all year, and maybe he'll be great here, but who do you even stack him with? Who do you stack him with? Let me know in the comments. I mean, 1 week it's Diggs, then it's Booty, then it's Pop Douglas, then it's Hunter Henry, and then it goes back around. It's like you have so many variables to deal with in a May stack at this point. Mahomes, 8K. Mahomes has been great this year. I don't know if they're going to need the full Mahomesian powers to beat the Raiders. I think their defense can get it done, which, gives me some pause on Mahomes, but you can't deny he's been spectacular, and it's helped Mahomes that the running game for the Chiefs has been terrible. So he's had to throw for touchdowns, and now he gets Rashee Rice back. Oh, yeah. It's a full group of weapons for Mahomes. Worthy healthy. Rashee Rice is back. Even Hollywood Brown has got a little swag going on. You see he's got the grill. You see Hollywood Brown after the game last week? We're sporting a full grill. He's got pride. He's a prideful man. Well, a WR1 in his day. Got Kelsey in there as well. Running backs have been mid to bad. That should help Mahomes here, but I do think this might actually be a game where those mid to bad running backs could just do okay and slow down the scoring of Mahomes. Caleb Williams, 7,900. Good matchup at home. I like Caleb at home generally, and this is a good spot for him against the Saints. So again, 7,900, a little too close to the zone here of these studs. It's going to be hard to get off of Dak and just or Hurts or even Daniels to get to one of these guys that are similar in price. Yeah, Love, not in love with it. Herbert, that spot's pretty good for Herbert. Again, Herbert is just somebody that's going to be in the mix for me most weeks, but he hasn't been producing ceiling games. So yeah, it's going to depend on how chalky he gets to really get a sense of how much I want. And here's his counterpart, Danny Jones. Again, same idea. Both of these guys I'm going to call less good plays than some of the higher pay-up options, and they fall in a kind of weird salary category, but, might get a little exposure at least. Justin Fields, bro. Look how bad this guy did last week. 9 for 7, 45 yards? 45 total passing yards? How the hell did Garrett Wilson get hurt if you never threw him the ball? That part I still don't understand. Justin Fields is really bad, but he should play better at home than he did on the road in London. A bounce back will probably happen, but this is a normal team. They would bounce back and play a reasonable game. And Justin Fields only needs sort of mediocrity to produce a big score. The problem is without Garrett Wilson, there's just no one left to throw to. And Justin Fields is not good enough with his legs. He's not good enough because there's no passing threat. So even if he was fast, it doesn't matter. There's no passing threat. I just rather play a good quarterback and just spend the money. Dart, I talked about it at the in the opening breakdown, but Dart is great. I'm obsessed with him, but I'm not sure this spot on the road at Denver is the best spot. I do like the price point. I'm considering it just for Dart magic purposes, but clearly low team total, low game total, and just a gross on paper matchup. Here's one. I mean, Bo Nix on the other side of that game, that could be interesting at 7,100. The price has come down on Nix. He hasn't really been putting up monster scores, but that could change. The Giants, if the Giants make a game of it here, I could see Bo Nix doing some work. Gino, it's Rattlesnake. So to go down to the real cheap zone, yeah, the Rattlesnake, maybe Dylan Gabriel, pretty gross. Let's start this lineup off with Dak Prescott at home. All right, let's take a look at the running back position. NFL Week 7. Again, let me know which running back is popping for you this week. Do you have a core play? Who is your core play here on FanDuel? Is there a super bargain price guy? Let's take a look at the domination station real quick, and I'll sort by fantasy points per dollar. These are not official projections. They're pretty much placeholders, but I do like to look at them and see if anybody is popping as a crazy value. I see one or two, so I do see a couple of playable spots and some pay down options. I wonder where Kamani Vidal is. Of course, Jordan Mason there. Kamani, yeah, 6,200, a little priced up. That's not cheap enough. All right, there we go. Judkins is how much? Judkins, 7,400. A little spendy too. All right, let's get into it. Top to bottom, running back position, NFL Week 7. Game log. Jonathan Taylor. 24.7 last week. Another big game, 100 yards, got the touchdown. Bunch of receptions too. This guy's just a beast, man. 10K salary levels, crazy on FanDuel. But what are you going to do? The guy is putting up numbers, so he has to be in the conversation at the very least. But we'll need some bargain wide receivers in order to afford this. I don't mind it though. I think Jonathan Taylor is a beast. Josh Jacobs, 9,200. Also, he's been kind of, beast moding as well, at least the last couple of weeks, almost 30 points a week each of the past two. It's at this price, it's really hard to get there. He needs around 30 fantasy points to be relevant. Similarly, Jonathan Taylor needs 30, 32 to pay off on the salary, which is why it's okay also to not play them. But we just have to find someone else who does well. Barkley, 8,700. Barkley, again, I mean, at some point he's going to break out, but getting tired of waiting. Von Achan, 8,500. Big game last week from him. He was the nut play, but that was an obvious play at home. It's a little tougher spot here on the road at Cleveland. Cleveland being really good against running backs this season. This does not excite me as much, especially this expensive. So I'm going to avoid that one. Rico Dowdle, 7,800. He's been the man. I don't know if Chuba Hubbard's coming back, but if he's not, I think we go right back to Dowdle against the Jets. The Panthers are, if they're not favored, it's a pick 'em game, and it's a close game on paper. Slide him right in there. Here's Javonte, also part of that sexy game that we want a ton of exposure to. I don't really want to pair him up with Dak, and Javonte start off a dud, only 13 carries, but he got 8 targets, 5 receptions last week. So even in what may not have been the greatest of game scripts or the Panthers are stopping the run, apparently. I don't know. But even in not the best of kind of situations, he was used quite a bit. It just didn't lead to a monster score. But that type of usage will get you there. So I'm going right back to him. I'm playing Javonte with confidence. Yeah, there's Judkins. Janty is priced reasonably this week. Very reasonably. But that matchup is brutal. Let's see what Janty did last week. Yeah, 15 points, 25 rushing attempts, 75 yards and a touchdown. No real passing game work. The touchdown. No 100-yard bonus. 15.6. It's tough to run on the Chiefs. And the Raiders are likely to be in a negative game script here. This is not a safe play, tournament only, GPP pivot kind of thing at best for me. Breece Hall, again, this is, I don't know. Are the Panthers a tough matchup for running backs at this point? Maybe. Part of the problem with the Jets, though, is they stink. And so they don't score touchdowns that often. But at home, they do have a 2.5 touchdown projection. Who's going to get him? I think Hall is very playable here. I hate to say it. It feels gross, but I think Hall's playable. Jordan Mason, also playable. As long as Aaron Jones is out. We don't know yet. But if he remains out, Jordan Mason keeps getting sort of the bulk of the carries. It's not as much volume as I want, but also the team, the Vikings have just been a mess most of the season. So we'll see who the quarterback is and what the situation is. But Mason is somebody who is mildly interesting. Yeah, Scatterboo. I'm so excited to play Scatterboo. I don't know if this is the week to unleash it with the Giants, busting out with a 16-point team total, but Scatterboo, he's going to be our guy at some point this year, and it's going to continue. As long as these matchups aren't brutal, I think we're going to be loading up on him. Ja'Cory, Bill Krosky Merritt, is not in the game on third down, but every running back that's gone up against Dallas has absolutely smashed. So Bill comes out of the game on third down. It's Jeremy McNuckles in there, catching passes on third down, obvious passing downs. And he's also, Krosky, he's making little stupid mistakes during the game that are frustrating to watch. He was doing that on Monday night, lined up off sides. I don't know what the hell he was doing. There was a fumble. He's got to clean it up. But a clean game from Bill at 65 against Dallas, the same team that Rico Dowdle just popped off for 200 yards on. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want. Alvin Kamara, meh. DeAndre Swift, guys. Can't ignore DeAndre Swift in a smash matchup against the Saints at home. Right now, is DeAndre Swift our favorite running back of all time? No. Right? Has he had a lot of duds over the years? Yes. Does he produce a lot more duds than good games? Absolutely. Does he rarely have a ceiling? Yeah, all those things are true. But this matchup is amazing. He's at home. We need salary relief, especially for the video, right? What are we trying to do? We're trying to discover good deals, players that are mispriced. I can say Jonathan Taylor. Everybody loves Jonathan Taylor. We can all put, I could just click Jonathan. You're not going to remember that. All right, I said play Christian McCaffrey. Like, what the hell is that? I'm not your average everyday fantasy football bro from the Twitter. It gives you the obvious plays. Where last week I told you to play Kendrick Bourne as a core play at 2% owned. Everybody said you're crazy. What are you talking about? We're not doing that. But DeAndre Swift he's in a good spot. Saints stink. Chicago's a heavy favorite. How often is Chicago a massive favorite? I don't think it rarely happens. So I'll be on that. I don't mind it. Is he probably going to disappoint me? Absolutely. Is he DeAndre Swift? He's going to Swift me? Probably. But I got to take my chances. Noteworthy that Kamani Vidal, 18 carries and 4 targets. This guy was the workhorse for the Chargers. Yes, please. I think we go do it. I wish he was cheaper. I was hoping I would see Vidal at like 5,400. No one likes to play a $5,400 running back, by the way. You weirdly think they're going to be higher owned, but they're lower owned. But in this case, it's 6,200. He's priced about right. Do I have any problem, playing some Kamani? No, I don't think. I think they made it clear they like him better than Haskins. Could that flip next week? Absolutely. It could just turn. That's the problem. There's no safety in this spot. There's no security after 1 week. And to take it all the way down to the most dangerous levels here, I would say slight, very minimal interest in Ramondre in a smash spot for the Patriots rush game, but I don't even know if I can get there. I don't even think I can get to it. Like, it's so bad. But, I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it. Done. Change my mind. All right. Let's shift gears. Take a look at the wide receivers for NFL Week 7. Of course, we're going to look at guys who we might stack with our quarterback. Let's see what's going on with CeeDee Lamb. Hopeful. Set to return to practice. So it does look like Lamb will be back this week, which gives us a weird dilemma. Lamb and Pickens are both priced as if the other one is not playing. That is concerning. The price point's too high. And so these DAC stacks are going to get out of control. I don't know how to deal with it. It's a little too soon in the week to have strategized for that. But right now I'm thinking it might just have to be like a Fergie week or something like that, where we just maybe even don't necessarily force a Lamb or Pickens into every DAC lineup. I know I want to have them, but this price point is too high. And if they're both playing, Pickens has been great without Lamb. We're not going to, but 11 targets, 9 receptions. Okay. 11-8. Great. He got sauced against the Jets, but every other time he's been out there, he's absolutely tore it up. He did get a bunch of targets even without when Lamb was still there. So you could say, all right, this guy's maybe a 15 point per game guy, even with Lamb there, but that's probably not enough for an 8K salary. So we'll have to think about that and what to do between him and Pickens. Rome Odunze, also a good spot against the Saints. Rome, kind of that WR1, but not a secure guy. Like I'd rather play Justin Jefferson. It's Cortland Sutton in a non-competitive potential matchup, but Cortland Sutton got sauced last week. But when he's not getting sauced up, he's been pretty good this year. I can't believe he's like the 4th most expensive guy on the slate. AJ Brown is relevant. I do think the Eagles are going to have to throw a lot in that game. I think A.J. Brown's a real playable player this week. Garrett Wilson, doubtful, not going to play. Ladd McConkey, again, he's very much tied with Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen. Like if Quentin Johnston plays, which it looks like he might, then it's going to be tough to choose between these guys. I think a Herbert lineup, you have to have at least one, and Johnston is generally the best of them. But look what McConkey did, given some opportunity. He reminded everybody, dude, he's like, I'm here. Get used to it. Don't forget about me. Yeah, Deebo Samuel coming off a bit of a dud, but we've got to consider Deebo, Terry McLaurin. This is the game that we want to target. So I'm just going to be playing players from does it feel safe? No. Deebo ended up with 5 targets, 4 receptions, 15 yards. He didn't do anything. But for the most part this season, he's been pretty good, but nothing great, right? And so it's just okay. And 19 points, 7, 14, 21. So he'll need something like that. He'll need a touchdown to pay off the 7K salary with all these very expensive running backs that are the best running backs, right? We've got some bargain ones on the screen, but the best ones you've got to pay up quite a bunch of money for. With all of those, we're going to have to find actually pay down options at the wide receiver position, but certainly I'm going to have some Deebo stacked with McLaurin. You have to. Worthy, sure, why not? Jalen Waddle, he's been really good ever since Tyreek Hill went down, or 8 targets, 6 receptions, 9-6. So I mean, these are both pretty good games. 95 yards, great. Did it without the touchdown? You don't get there on Fanduel, but he was pretty good. Ted McMillan, he's got the sauce treatment with the Jets. We're going to avoid that one. DJ Moore, Q tag, not risking it. Terry McLaurin, whoa. Yeah, so I mean, look at how quickly we're driving down the scale here on a smaller slate. There's just fewer options to choose from. You got Terry McLaurin here, quad injury. Don't know if he'll be back. Didn't even practice last week. Romeo Doubs, I mean, he's been okay. It's his best season ever. I don't trust it. Keenan Allen, he had a bit of a dud considering last week there was not much competition for targets. I think he could bounce right back as well. So Keenan Allen's very playable. I had a ton of him last week. That one hurt my lineups quite a bit. Olave, more of a volume guy. Jordan Addison, playable here. Devontae Smith, interesting. He tends to get just as many targets most weeks as A.J. Brown. Like, he gets a lot of targets too, but A.J. Brown costs a little bit more. I still probably will favor A.J. Brown in this one. Wandale, tough matchup. Trey Tucker, kind of tough. You don't really want wide receivers against KC. You know, he might be the WR1. There's Booty, Myers, Diggs, Pittman. Pittman could be interesting here. Josh Downs got a Q tag. We don't even know if he's going to play. So Michael Pittman at 5,800 in this competitive matchup, I think we got to consider that. Just scanning to see if there's any other names that are popping up. Obviously, I mentioned at the beginning, Luther Burden. If Moore is out, I think Luther Burden could be one of the sneaky spots of this entire slate. Look how cheap he is on FanDuel. We put him in there. Oh, man, you can afford kind of whatever you want. So Luther Burden definitely should be in the conversation. And I think with a lineup built around Dak Prescott, you know, we certainly are going to want to use one of these guys. It's just tough to decide which one. All right, before I go to tight end, let's quickly take a look at the defenses. And I'm going to kind of pick out some of my favorite pay down options on defense. And then we'll talk about some of the pay up options and see if there's anything any good. So right off the bat, Saints, probably not on the road. Raiders at the KC, hell no. Arizona at home against Green Bay, nope. Giants on the road against Denver, nope. Titans at home against the Patriots, nope. Dallas, no. Jets, maybe. Panthers, not that good. Panthers defense, maybe. So both Jets and Panthers, very playable. Panthers defense has been fine, and Fields they have a field day with his turnovers. And Jets have a pretty good defense. And by the way, Bryce Young's not that great. I don't love the Jets, though. I don't mind the Panthers, though, there. Miami on the road at Cleveland. Cleveland, you know, the rookie quarterback out there, that's fine. That's playable. Cleveland has not been that generous, somewhat generous to opposing defenses, not ultimate. And then the Cleveland defense is also pretty good against Miami. So both of these playable spots, I'm going to lean Miami going up against a rookie, even on the road. I don't think it matters that much. But let's keep scrolling up here. You got the Vikings at home against the Eagles. Acceptable. Chargers, Patriots, no. Got Denver against the rookie, the Giants rookie. Don't forget that we're just as great as Dart was last week, 2 weeks ago, he had 6 turnovers against the Saints. So we're going to have that roller coaster with Jackson Dart. I do think he's here to stay. I've seen enough. I like him. I wish Malik Neighbors was healthy. I wanted to see it all, but we'll get it. He's going to have a long career. He's going to be great. But for now, Denver defense at home is spectacular for 4,300. As a matter of fact, that is a better play than even the Miami play. So Miami, Denver, Eagles, if they're up against JJ McCarthy, if they roll out McCarthy and his terribleness, then yes. But if it's going to be Carson Wentz, revenge, I don't know if I like that. We'll see. Commanders, no. Bears at home against the Saints, playable. That's fine. Not Dylan Gabriel. The Rattlesnake, not that good. Packers against Arizona, sure. And then finally, Patriots at home or on the road to the Titans, it's all right. I like the Broncos here. I like this pick. And if not that, maybe, like I said, the Dolphins here at Cleveland. And if not that, then maybe the Panthers at the Jets. So we got a few to choose from. All right, final spot, tight end position. We're going to talk about all the tight ends before we simply pick one, but we got lots of salary left. We can pick whoever we want. Yeah, Tyler Warren in a good spot here. He's been getting it done, doing it well. Another big day for Warren with the touchdown last week. Trey McBride, probably better, probably the best. It's going to be hard to not play McBride if Marvin Harrison Jr. is out. And the team is going to be behind and throwing a ton. So I don't mind this at all. He needs the touchdown. Fergie, he's Fergalicious. So delicious. Hell yeah. I'm plugging him into this lineup just because he belongs with Dak. Tucker Kraft playable. Darren Waller playable. He's been good. Dallas Goedert, extra good. Look at all the targets that Goddard has been. 11, 9. I mean, the last 2 games, that's crazy. Got a 17 and a 25 on the season, 6K. Hell yeah. We're going to have some Goddard. We're going to have some Hurts stacked to Goddard stacks. Some Hurts Goddard stacks. There's Kelsey at 5,800. Oh, how the mighty hath fallen. Not an exciting play anymore, but, you know, he's out there. He's out there. Taylor still lets him play. Honey, can I go play? Yeah, you can go, but make sure you're back here certain time. Taylor lets him go. Hunter Henry with Drake May. Never know when that's going to pop. That's fine. If Njoku is out, Fannin Jr. is somebody that needs to be on the radar. If Njoku sits, Fannin Jr. should just sort of absorb a ton of those tight end targets. He got 10 targets, 7 receptions last week. Now, another good matchup. I'm telling you, if Njoku is out, it might be Fannin above all the others. Too much? Too far? Did I take it too far? I did on purpose. That's right. I said it. Put it out there. The only other ones of exciting interest here, I'm going to say Zach Ertz for sure at 5K. This is where we're going to save a little salary. Mayer playable. Evan Ingram, 5K as well. So those will be some other names at tight end that if I'm looking to pay down, Evan Ingram, I've got Fannin, I've got Zach Ertz. And if I want to pay up, and of course, I don't know if Goddard is considered pay down, but if I want to pay up, Warren, McBride, Fergalicious. All right, that's going to do it for the FanDuel NFL Week 7 first look. Guys, if you want to see more of this content, make sure you're liked, subscribed, and notified right here on the DFS Army YouTube channel. If you want to check out DFS Army, NBA is around the corner. You want to do VIP, all the sports, the Domination Station Optimizer, the research stations, the cheat sheets, the breakdowns, the Discord, everything. NBA, you cannot do NBA without DFS Army. We have a full-time person adjusting projections based on news and updating the community on all news items as they hit. And as you know very well, NBA is all about adjusting to who's in, who's out, and who's resting. And we have a full-time team that covers that within our Discord. There's nothing like NBA with DFS Army. I like to think NFL's pretty freaking good too. And you're watching this video, so you much like it as well. That's why I suggest signing up for DFS Army VIP plan. It's $89.99 a month. Use code Kevin or use code Geek. You'll get 10% off, and that will lock in forever. All right. Good luck this week, everybody. I'll see you back here for Tournament Tactics on Friday, the Showdown Breakdown on Thursday, and all the other great content here on the DFS Army YouTube channel. Good luck, everyone.